Hello everyone, my name is Alina. I hold a master level degree in linguistics and I've been preparing students for IELTS for 11 years. In the previous tutorial, we learned some words and phrases that can help you to introduce the causes and effects of pretty much any issue and to write course an introduction quickly and effortlessly. In this tutorial, we will continue working on the same task, but we will now write body paragraphs and a conclusion, and of course learn words and phrases and expressions that can help you to elaborate on causes and effects of a particular issue in more detail. Last time we covered this topic. We will continue working with the same task in this tutorial. Take a look here. So more and more children are becoming overweight. Discuss some of the possible causes. Notice the plural form, causes, not just one cause, but we need at least two causes, and effects, again plural effects, of this issue. As always, you need to support your answers by providing relevant details from your own knowledge and experience. Last time we wrote an introduction. We will keep the same introduction, and let me quickly remind you what introduction we wrote in the previous tutorial. Once again, in the introduction, you need to mention everything that you have in the task, which is the problem itself, causes, and effects. So the introduction that we wrote in the previous tutorial is: as the prevalence of overweight among children is increasing at an alarming rate, childhood obesity has come to be seen as one of the most urgent public health issues of the 21st century. Now, this was the problem. Now we need to mention something about causes. It is felt that this disturbing trend mainly comes as a result of modern lifestyle. Now we've said something about the causes. We also need to mention something about the effects, because our introduction encompasses everything that we will have in our essay. There should be no surprises anymore for the reader. Now, unfortunately, unless measures are taken to curb swelling obesity rates, the consequences for the health of the whole generation may be dire. Now, this is the introduction. In the body paragraphs, we will need to develop further what we mentioned in the introduction. In the first body paragraph, I will talk about causes, and in the second body paragraph about effects. And we will draw a balanced conclusion where we will summarize everything mentioned in the essay. Now, remember, it is very important to brainstorm and at least to decide what argument and supporting details you will use in your essay. Of course, on the exam, you don't have time to write your outline, but when you prepare for your exam, it is worth taking a couple of minutes to write that outline. For example, I will talk about the following causes. First, I will mention poor eating habits, and second, I will also mention a lack of physical activity or a sedentary lifestyle. Try to remember this word. It's very useful. Sedentary means inactive. So if you have a sedentary lifestyle, you spend a lot of time sitting. So to engage in sedentary activities, or to spend a lot of time in sedentary activities, just sitting, not being active. Right? So once again, the first cause will be poor eating habits, and by poor eating habits, I mean consumption of foods high in fat, high in sugar content, deep fried food, fast food, vending machine snacks, all these foods which are high in calories but have very low nutritional value. Right? So poor eating habits and a sedentary lifestyle or a lack of physical activity. For the effects, I will choose again two effects. The first one will be health issues. Definitely overweight children are prone to chronic illnesses. Again, a word that you need to remember: to be prone to something, to be vulnerable to something, to be likely to develop a certain disease, to be prone to a chronic illness. For example, overweight children are prone to chronic illnesses such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. So illnesses, health problems, health issues. And the second problem, or the second effect, negative effect that I will mention, was that it will be the emotional effect of obesity. And what I mean by that is that overweight children are frequently bullied, they are frequently teased, they are frequently targeted by their peers, and as a result they have low self-esteem and they have a negative self-image. And so these are the two effects that I will mention: physical health problems and emotional well-being. Now, when you need to mention several causes and several effects in your essay, I would recommend you not to choose more than two causes and not to choose more than two effects. The reason for that is that everything that you mention, you need to support it, you need to explain it, you need to further develop it. It's not enough just to enumerate all the potential causes of this problem, and it's not necessary to do so. What is important is that you can present an argument, you can state your idea, and you can support it with relevant examples or relevant explanations. This is what the test is looking for. This is what the examiner will look for. Therefore, even if you have to mention several causes and several effects, just limit yourself to two causes and two effects. Now let's start writing the first body paragraph. In the first body paragraph, I will focus on the causes of this issue. Now, in the first sentence, we need to mention what this paragraph will be about. If a reader reads the first sentence, it should be clear that the whole paragraph will be about causes, for example, or the whole paragraph will be about effects. So be careful in crafting the first sentence of your paragraph. So since I will be talking about causes in the first paragraph, I will say it has long been recognized that childhood obesity is rooted in lifestyle issues, namely poor eating habits and a lack of physical activity. What does it mean? Is rooted in. It means that something is the underlying cause of a problem that we are discussing, and it refers to the roots of a tree. Something is rooted in A or B. This problem is rooted in poor eating habits, or this problem is rooted in a number of factors. Now, in the first sentence, it's already clear that my whole paragraph will be about causes, right? Now I need to explain. I will take the first one, poor eating habits, and try to explain it. I need to explain how poor eating habits lead to weight gain. Here I can say, indeed, multiple studies link regular consumption of high fat and high sugar foods to weight gain. So, indeed, numerous studies link something to something else. Again, a phrase that you can remember and reuse to help you express your ideas quickly and effortlessly on the exam. Here we can also say, for example, if you don't want to say multiple studies, or you can simply write, there is no denying the fact that there is a link between A and B. For example, indeed, there is no denying the fact that there is a link between regular consumption of high-fat, high-sugar foods and weight gain. Another phrase that can help you to quickly express your ideas on the exam. You can also use here, since we are talking about a public health issue, you can also say, indeed, doctors believe, or numerous doctors believe, or you can say, indeed, experts believe that there is a link between A and B, or indeed, there is a consensus among experts that there is an agreement, so most experts agree that. Indeed, there is a consensus among experts that there is a link between regular consumption of high-fat, high-sugar foods and weight gain. Or you can soften it a little bit and say, indeed, there seems to be a link between regular consumption of high-fat, high-sugar foods and weight gain. Again, the phrase will be, indeed, there seems to be a link between A and B. Now, we need to develop this idea a little bit further, and I will explain what kind of foods are considered to be high fat and high sugar content foods. So these foods include fast food, then deep fried food, or deep fried dishes, or deep fried snacks, if you want to paraphrase, right? And of course, vending machine snacks, which are all readily available and affordable. So this affordability and availability makes these foods an easy go-to choice for children, or for school children, or for students, depending on whom you are talking about. Right? So this affordability and availability makes these foods an easy go-to choice for children. Now we need to explain the second cause that we have. And the second cause was a lack of physical activity. Now, to link the second idea in the same paragraph, we need to use some linking devices. For example, we can say moreover, or not less important is the fact that. My students usually prefer the second one because it has more words. So not less important is the fact that children nowadays have a much more sedentary lifestyle compared to the previous generation. right? And again, maybe one more sentence to develop this idea further. And I can say, as a result, they don't burn off. And again, do not don't. In your essay, do not use contracted forms. We cannot contract anything because in an academic style, you don't use don't. You use do not. You can use don't only in informal letters. So that may be in a general module, the first writing task of the general module. But in an academic module, don't contract. Use do not. Don't write don't. Do not. Right? So as a result, they do not burn the calories from food they consume and gain weight or gain extra weight. Now, this should be enough for the first body paragraph about the causes. Now we need to write the second body paragraph in which we will discuss potential effects. Now, again, when we write the first sentence of the paragraph, we need to make it clear what the paragraph will be about. So this is why I will say, what makes childhood obesity or this problem already particularly troubling are the dire consequences that it may have for the physical and emotional health of the future generation. Now, if a reader reads this sentence, it becomes crystal clear that this paragraph will be about physical and emotional consequences of obesity. Now, I will first start with physical issues, potential physical problems or health problems that overweight children may have. And I will say, extra pounds, to paraphrase overweight, to paraphrase obese, to paraphrase obesity, all these words we have already used numerous times. So extra pounds set children on a path to health issues which used to be considered adult problems or adult diseases. Such illnesses or such diseases include but are not limited to diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And I'll put full stop here. So such diseases include but are not limited to diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. Now I need to explain why it is a problem. So as a result, or as a consequence, the current generation of children may have a shorter lifespan than their parents. And definitely this is a significant concern. A lifespan means how many years you live before you pass away, right? So lifespan, the duration of your life. And now I will add one more phrase which is very good for you to remember and you can reuse. I'll put a comma here and I will say a concern voiced across the globe. You can say a concern voiced by experts across the globe, or you can simply say a concern voiced across the globe. You can add a concern frequently voiced across the globe. So a concern frequently voiced across the globe. Now I need to mention the second potential effect and develop it further. Moreover, research indicates that children who carry too many extra pounds or overweight children are likely to suffer or tend to suffer, are likely to suffer from low self-esteem and depression. Now I need to develop this idea further. Indeed, There is evidence to suggest that overweight children are often bullied, teased, and ridiculed by their peers and are excluded from friendship groups. As a result, overweight children or obese children tend to lack confidence in their social skills and have or often have a more negative self-image than their normal weight peers. Their normal weight peers, right? And peers are people of the same age as you. So your peers are children or adolescents or adults who are of the same age as you are. Right? And now I will show you how to make a little wrap up for your paragraph. This is not necessary. A wrap up is something that you do if you are aiming at band 8 and 9. But for band 7, you can easily finish your paragraph here. I will just show you how to make a wrap up. A wrap up is a mini conclusion to your paragraph. For example, here I could say, therefore, childhood obesity is health and emotional hazard. You see, I did not provide any new information here. What I did is simply I summarized the ideas expressed in the paragraph. And what I did, I simply showed a wider range of vocabulary that I have. So this is mainly what you would do for band 8 and band 9. Now our paragraphs, body paragraphs are finished and we just need a conclusion. In the conclusion, we summarize everything that we have mentioned in the essay. Do not introduce any new information in the conclusion because the conclusion is only a summary of what you have stated. So please, no new arguments, no new causes, no new effects, only what you have already mentioned in your essay. So to conclude, childhood obesity, which mainly comes as a result of lifestyle issues, is an alarming issue or is an alarming trend, is an alarming problem, depending on what vocabulary you have already used, since it can have a damaging effect on the health and emotional well-being of the future generation. Here you can also use the phrase to have far-reaching and long-lasting consequences. For example, I can say here, right here, to conclude, childhood obesity is an alarming issue, a disturbing issue, a troubling issue, since it can have far-reaching consequences, or since it can have far-reaching, long-lasting consequences for the physical and emotional well-being of the whole generation. I'll put full stop here, and in the next sentence I will mention that therefore, unless measures are taken to address the multiple factors which cause the obesogenic environment, the quality of life as well as the life expectancy are likely to decrease the world over. Because I added one more sentence because we also need to summarize, and usually one sentence is not enough for the conclusion. It looks too short. So something for the future, but of course don't provide any new information. And here also a very good adjective. Try to remember it. It's very useful because there are lots of topics for the writing as well as the speaking which ask you to discuss the problem of obesity. Obesogenic environment, obesogenic world. An obesogenic environment refers to the environment which promotes obesity. For example, when Coke or any soft drinks, sugary drinks are cheaper than water, that this is definitely an obesogenic environment. Or when you study in a school and there is only a vending machine where you can buy anything to eat, and in the vending machine all you have are sugary snacks. Again, that's an obesogenic environment when there are no healthy options for a person to snack, and when healthy options are more expensive than unhealthy ones. That's an obesogenic environment. That's it for this tutorial. Try to use the words and phrases that we have covered to write your own essay. They will help you to write your essay effortlessly and quickly on the exam. And remember, perseverance is the key to your IELTS success. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.